it.
Take this!
How's this for you? I'm on fire! This isn't happening!
Ha! And they're still connected, Sora. Somewhere way down deep inside of you.
Funny, I feel as though I've met them.
Yes, 2 of them you have met. As for the third, I never realized it, but you and he share a very special connection.
Yeah.
Naminé, you said Sora has to call these memories to the surface. Is it time?
I can't say for sure, but I do know a day will come when they must rise from their sleep, and then the only one who can save them will be Sora.
The bond they all share? That's gonna be the key, right? Don't worry, Naminé. I'll make sure I pass this on to Sora. You know, the one in the outside world.
Please do.
Okay.
Well,
Just a second.
huh?
Our promise. Your promise to the me I don't know. You kept it, right?
I may be gone, but my promises to him are forever. And anyway, I owe this much. For all those people that I hurt.
So what happens to you? The one that's right here?
I'm really just data made to pass along a message. I shouldn't exist right now in this journal at all. And now the record of me will disappear. But when you pass my message on to the other Sora, just remember to tell him the things that you've seen and that you felt. If you do that, then we'll be at rest, her and me too.
Along with everybody connected to Sora. Naminé, you got it. Oh yeah. I almost forgot. I have a message for you too. Thank you.
And so ended our journey to connect those memories with these. I wanted to tell you right away about memories from the past that sleep within you, and about the pieces that will tie you to your future. Sora, Riku, Kairi, the truth behind the Keyblade has found its way through so many people, and now I know that it rests in your hearts. Sora, you are who you are because of those people, but they're hurting, and you're the only one who can end their sadness. They need you. It's possible that all your journeys so far have been preparing you for this great new task that's waiting for you. I should have known there were no coincidences, only links in a much larger chain of events. And now the door to your next journey is ready to be opened.